Hello, my name is Ms. Dubik, and I will be teaching class today for Ms. Saunders. I hope everybody's well. We're going to be learning a little bit more on your Raspberry Pis that I believe you all got recently, so that'll be nice. I know you guys, oh good, I'm glad you like pie. I like pie as well, both the Raspberry Pi and the edible kinds. So today, if we need to, we can run through and we probably will at the beginning of class. We'll just run through a bit of a review on how to set up your Pi. I like this picture here because I think it actually does a great job in kind of showing what you'll need to set up the Pi. You can see the power cord in the back. You can see, I believe that's the power cord there, and so that would be the, I actually can't really tell from this, this image what each of those are. I can't tell if, okay, that back there, those are the USB connections, and then that would be the monitor connection there. Color choice of those cords got me. Lauren, if you did not go to the labs, then you can hang out and kind of just follow along, but that's, you know, kind of what we're doing today, so I apologize. You'll get your Pi shortly. Give everyone about another minute to get here before we go through the review again of how to start your Pi. Let me pause the screen. Oh, I see what you're saying. You don't go to the labs at all. Okay, well, definitely contact Mr. Dubik. I will make a little note here. All right. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started so that we can kind of get some cool Minecraft coding done today. The goal of today is to get you to be using Python, which is a programming language, to manipulate your Minecraft game on your Raspberry Pi. So you will need your Raspberry Pi, and you will need all the things that you kind of need with your Raspberry Pi. So you'll need the Pi itself. You'll need a monitor and a connection to that monitor. You'll need a mouse and keyboard. You will need a power cable and some sort of outlet to connect to, or some way to draw power. That can be a computer if you want. And I believe that is all. So power, monitor, and you will need the keyboard and mouse. You will not need internet connection today. So go ahead, I'm going to give everybody 2 minutes, gather your things, hopefully you had them. You can hook up your Pi to get power from your laptop, but not video. Your monitor needs to be something else, like a computer or a TV. I'm sorry, a computer monitor, not the actual computer itself, the computer monitor. Yes, Noah.
Do we have to have these plugged in by now?
Great question, Noah. I'm just giving everyone a minute to collect them, and then we're gonna go through a review of how to connect them. If you remember how, you can go ahead. I would just say the biggest thing, if you want to try to do it on your own right now, the last thing you add into the circuit is power. So do all your connections first, then you add power into your circuit. So a good way to keep your electronics safe. All right, so we're going to start this review. Or let me ask you this. Raise your hand if you are ready to start the review of putting up the Raspberry Pi. So if you don't have a Raspberry Pi or you're not able to use your Pi tonight, go ahead and raise your hand. Basically, do not raise your hand if you're still gathering materials, still gathering your monitor and your cords. Great. So we are going to wait a few more minutes. Kayla is on top of it and ready to go, but we're going to wait a few more minutes. Again, if you've just joined us, you should be gathering your Raspberry Pi materials, not putting it together. We're going to put, well, you don't need to put it together right now because we're going to go through a review, but you should be getting your monitor, getting your power cord and power the little block. You should be getting your keyboard and your mouse. And raise your hand when you're ready to continue. So if you don't have a Raspberry Pi or you're not using your Raspberry Pi today, go ahead and raise your hand, please. Wyatt, what's going on right now is that people are gathering their materials that they're going to need today for the Raspberry Pi. So, like, okay, you went to get your Raspberry Pi. Good. Okay, so that would mean like a monitor, whether that's going to be your TV or an old computer monitor or a new computer monitor, whatever you use it. A keyboard and a mouse, a power cable, all your materials that you'll need for your Raspberry Pi. If you do not have a monitor available, hold on one second. I'm going to put everybody's hands down. I want you to raise your hand if you do have a monitor available, if you are going to be able to use your Raspberry Pi today. So if you don't have a monitor, you're not able to use your Raspberry Pi today. Okay, hold on. Okay. So it looks like only 2 people are able. So, hold on one moment. You all, I don't want to go through a lesson no one can do. Give me a minute. Just as an update, Lauren, Mrs. Dubik is going to send you one right away. If you guys could actually just bear with me 1 minute here, I will be back in just 1 moment. And I apologize about this. Hey everybody, I'm back. I don't want to, run through a lesson if not, if the majority of the class could not kind of, work alongside us. So I have a new question for everybody. So I'm going to wait until I've got everybody paying attention. So Hayes and Lauren, Noah, Wyatt, click back into the webinar because right now it shows you as unattentive, like you have another page highlighted. So click back so I know that you're here. Lauren, Noah, Wyatt, please click back on GoToWebinar. Thank you. Okay, please raise your hand if you have done Scratch before. Scratch is a programming language. This program that was developed by MIT. It's pretty cool. All right, so it looks like only two. Thank you, everybody, for clicking back in. Looks like 3 people have done Scratch. 4 people have done Scratch. All right, hold on. Okay, so it looks like several of you have done Scratch before. We made Space Invaders with it. I found laptops that usable. No, Noah, you can't use a laptop for a monitor, sadly. I wish you could. Okay, so it looks like about half the class, Mr. Dubik, and it looks like they've done a fair amount of it because they made Space Invaders. Okay, great. Sounds good. Okay. I'm speaking to Mr. Dubik webinar right now. Okay, sounds good. So I spoke to Mr. Dubik, and so Lauren, your Raspberry Pi is on the way. And we decided shift it so that instead of us doing a lesson that everyone's going to have to catch up on, he really encourages everybody to find the materials that they're going to need for Wednesday. So that on Wednesday, you guys can start with Minecraft. So you are going to need a monitor, and that could be a TV, or that could be a monitor that maybe you found on eBay or on Goodwill. It doesn't need to be an expensive monitor. And you would need a keyboard and mice. And people have been able to find those at Goodwill in the past. You could definitely find one at Target as well. So on Wednesday, he would hopefully people will be able to find those materials for Wednesday. And Lauren, yours is on the way shortly. So we're going to shift, and instead we're going to do something. We're going to learn a little bit of Python, which will help you all, which will help when doing Minecraft. Because Minecraft uses Python, and you'll be learning things, learning how to make commands and use commands. All right, so to do that, there is a really cool program called Code Combat. Okay? Ooh, looks like they have a tournament going on right now. So Code Combat is really fun, very kind of almost addictive. And let me pull here. All right. So we're shifting. Ooh, okay, someone loves Code Combat. Wait, I don't know if you're talking about Scratch or Code Combat. I think we all used it. Okay, whoa. Wyatt. Yeah, can you speak can you rephrase that please? I can't understand what you're saying. Hey Devin, if you get here late, just try to wait to catch up. Sometimes we're gonna have to. You're not doing the tournament. Okay, Wyatt, that's okay. You don't have to do the tournament. Devin, we had some okay, Code Combat. Everyone loves Code Combat. That's wonderful. Can I get a poll? How many people raise your hand if you have done Code Combat before? Okay, I'm going to put your hands down. Raise your hand if you've done Python with Code Combat before. So I think maybe people did JavaScript with Code Combat. And so we're going to try Python. And I'm going to give a brief introduction. So Devin, you're just in time. Devin, try to get everything that you need for your Raspberry Pi, and we can go over that at the end of class. Try to get that for Wednesday. So that would be like a monitor, a power block, and stuff like that. So we'll go over that again at the end of class, what you're going to need. Okay, so if you have done Code Combat before, then essentially you can kind of pick up from whatever lesson that you're on. But I'm going to start with just an introduction of Code Combat, and we're going to kind of work together as a class. If you've never done Code Combat before, you're fine. You're in a good position. And for those of you who got here a little bit later, no, Devin, you don't need it right now. Yes, Lauren, a TV should work for a monitor. So we can talk a little bit more about that at the end of class. Okay. So the reason that we're learning Code Combat is it's a really, really great way to learn, to introduce yourself to a programming language or programming logic. As who said that? I think it was Lauren said that she loves Code Combat because it's fun. It's a game. It's like a little puzzle. But in addition, you're actually writing out full lines of code. In Scratch, you're making these games very cool, very, very cool. But it's not, it's not actually writing out the lines of code. And so that's what makes Code Combat really useful and a good way to introduce how to write functions in a certain language. So if you've done Code Combat with JavaScript, it is going to help you to go back and start from the beginning with Python. And that will help you later on this week when you start to write code in Python for your Raspberry Pi. So this is our little guide to Code Combat. And he's going to signal kind of when we're learning vocab. So we use syntax, and syntax is kind of like the punctuation that you need in order to run a line of code. Okay, so in just a minute, you all will sign up for Code Combat. And you're going to start in the Kithgard dungeon, okay? And here you're going to be learning about syntax, methods, parameters, strings, loops, and variables. All of these are actually really key, important programming concepts that you'll be learning without even really realizing that's what you're learning. Once you get in there, you're going to choose a hero. And essentially, it can be Anya or this guy. Not sure what his name is. And they're the same. So if you've played games before, you know sometimes if you're an archer, maybe you're faster than a warrior, but a warrior has more hit points. These two characters are the same. They just made a female version and a male version. The important thing about this slide, because it really doesn't matter which kind of guy or gal you have, is that you're choosing Python as the default. And as you go through the levels, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be getting new equipment kind of as you move through. So you start with no equipment, and then for the first level, it gives you this pair of boots. And you double click them, and they go into your inventory. And when you start the next level, you're going to see that those boots down in the kind of the bottom right of your screen give you access to different codes to run. So here, the boots, they're methods. And methods are like a function, but associated with a specific object. And they are essentially named reusable sequences of code. Okay? If you have a question, just hold on for a second, and I'm going to run through this. I do want kind of everyone's attention right here, because in just a bit, it'll definitely be more self-paced, and you guys will be doing some independent work. So if you've done Scratch, and several of you have done Scratch, you know that they have built-in functions into the Scratch game that make Scratch easier to use, so that you could use the if on edge bounce block instead of using a whole bunch of blocks. It reduces the number of blocks you need to use. Essentially, someone at Scratch at MIT made a block that means the same thing as all of these blocks. That's how you use functions. Essentially, this function, move down, is kind of the name for a sequence of code that's behind the scenes of this computer game that we don't really get to see that makes your little character move down. And then self is the variable that refers to your character. With code combat, as you move forward in the game, you're going to get more and more pieces of armor or things to add to your inventory. And each of these new pieces is going to give you access to more methods or more functions. And then you're going to be able, your character, are going to be able to use these functions to kind of get through these different levels. All right, so that's like in Python on Wednesday, you're going to be using import lines to import functions. That's exactly kind of what's going on here. You're importing, quote unquote, you get access to these functions by putting on the pieces of armor or the weapons, etc. And you can use them to solve the levels. So what we're going to do now, we're going to follow this early slide. So at this point, you did not need to open your browser or anything like that. We were just going through the introduction. Now everybody is going to go to codecombat.com and make an account. If you already have an account, just hang on for a second and we'll get there. But I kind of want everybody at the same speed here. So you'll go to www.codecombat.com. And actually, I'm in Safari right now, and Safari is not the best web browser for this. So Firefox or Google Chrome are going to be better web browsers for Code Combat. And let me paste this link into chat, and then I'm going to check on the questions that we have, see if we have any questions. And I'm sure we have some. So under chat now, I sent out the link. And I want you all to create an account. If you already have an account, absolutely fine. Just hang out for a second as we kind of all get started here. All right. 1 to 3 hours. I know it seems like it's going to take a long time, but I don't think it'll take you 3 hours, Devin. So we need to be a fast typer for this. No, you don't need to be a fast typer for this. And actually, Devin, I'm glad that you bring that up. Oh, you're making a joke. It will help you with your typing skills, and there's actually some shortcuts that you can learn since, programmers, we're crafty people, right? We don't want to do more work than we need to. We don't want to develop carpal tunnel, already worse than we're going to get it. Carpal tunnel is some pain in your joints that you get for typing too much. So there's actually some shortcuts that we can use. I'm going to go ahead and log in because I already have an account. But if you don't have an account, you would get the sign up key. It's very easy, and it'll bring you to something that looks like this. And you are not going to play in the tournament, especially Wyatt. Wyatt says he is not playing in the tournament. Though I encourage anyone who wants to try, give it a try. You don't know, you don't know until you try. I would do a few lessons first, but then go ahead, give it a try. So go ahead and raise your hand once you've made an account, or if you already have an account. Wyatt's on top of it, Devin, Hannah, Hayes. And we'll just give everybody a chance to kind of catch up here. All right, so still waiting on a couple names. And again, I sent that link out. Make sure you send me a question if you have a question. Devin, we're going to hit the play button in just a little bit. I kind of want everybody on the same page to get started with, because pretty soon you guys are going to really separate. So we're still waiting. Brad, Lauren, Noah. Go ahead. Okay, Lauren, your hand is popping up and then popping back down again. Whenever you make an account, make sure to put your hand up. Even if you already had an account, I just want to make sure we don't leave anyone behind. Okay, so Brad's hand's up. All right, just waiting on one here. Oh, cool, Devin, you play the drums? That was like one of the hardest instruments to get into in band because you had to know how to play the piano. It's very cool. Four years. Very nice. I played the flute for 7 years, but sadly, the flute's not something you can really play a lot after, you graduate. Drums you're going to be able to play your whole life, so that's really neat. Oh, cool, Devin. You also play the piano. Lauren, you've been playing for 8 years? Very awesome. Okay, someone's having some. Oh, Sam. Hey, Sam. Sorry you're having Wi-Fi troubles. What's happening right now is people are making a Code Combat account. So go ahead and sign into yours. And Noah, let me know if you're having an issue. I'm going to go ahead and keep going. But then, I can come back and help you. I just don't want people to get, too restless here. Oh, and Lauren also plays the guitar. Oh, thank you, Devin. It is. Yeah, it's nice to know. I think playing an instrument is very good for your brain. Lauren's about to make a one-man band here. Wyatt plays the drums. You guys need to get together. Young Engineers of Today band jam session. I'll bring out the flute. Ooh, recorder. Oh, the days of the recorder. How I miss them so. All right. So what I've just put onto this webinar, onto the GoToWebinar control panel, I put a lesson. It says Code Combat Python, Lesson 1, June. That's because I made it in June. Don't worry, ignore the June. But you can see here that it'll take you a while to download on your computer because it's a lot of pictures. But you can have it here and it gives you some information. But I want you eyes on my screen for a minute, please, before you kind of break off here. Ooh. It gives you some help, before you give up. What I don't want you to do is just to follow it and just to find the answer because, that kind of defeats the purpose of doing it. It's not supposed to be easy. It's supposed to be like a puzzle game. So if you immediately open the walkthrough for a puzzle game, there's no point in playing the puzzle game, right? The whole point is that it's a challenge and it's an awesome challenge and, do as many of those as you can. It has built-in help features. So let's do this together. Go ahead and click on the play button. Ooh. And under Kithgard Dungeon, yours will say 0 out of 42, and you'll go ahead and hit play. And this is something, everybody eyes on my screen for a second. They have a paid version of the game, and that includes these stars, these like little stars that are blue, and these kind of smoky things that are blue. That you do not need to get the paid version of this game. This game is awesome, just doing this simple pathway. So once you get to this part here, if you look at my screen, you're going to notice it's going to want you to click on that one, but that's for the paid version. So don't worry about it, and you can go ahead and just continue going. You'll see the giant red dot with the arrow. That's where it tells you. Those are just the regular non-paid version levels. So click on this first Dungeons of Kithgard, and you'll hit play. And for you, what's going to come up is a little dialogue with your hero. And that's just, again, I cannot emphasize it enough. It's so important that you choose Python, okay? Doesn't matter if you're either character, you just need Python to be your level, right? Because we're learning this to help us with our Raspberry Pis. Oh my gosh, Lauren, I've heard about that game, Can You Escape? But you didn't give up, and I cannot emphasize, I mean, that's so impressive. It's, it's not a comfortable feeling to be stuck like that, but it's a great feeling, challenge yourself. And um, that's what Code Combat's all about. So you can see I've played this game a lot, and you get a lot of these pieces of armor. Now, can someone raise their hand and remind the class, why is the armor important? What are we using the armor for? Noah.
The armor is supposed to help you it gives you new abilities and stuff.
Perfect. Wonderful. Yes. It's not just going to make you stronger, and it'll increase your health, but it also gives you new abilities. So like this sword grants you different methods, right? Those named pieces of code. So that's the whole point of the game, right? So we are going to go ahead, once you play the level. This is the last thing I wanted to show you. Now I have a bunch of extra equipment, so ignore that. You'll just have the little boots. But if you have if you're not sure what's going on, the best thing you can do is to just hover over, eyes on my screen for a second, hover over the boots, and it gives you information on how they work. So it gives you information on how the move down function works, and how the move left, and how the move right. And for all of them. So the first few levels are pretty simple, but when you get into the 6th or 7th level, it starts to get more complicated. We're going to learn about loops. But by hovering over that information in your inventory, it gives you hints. Okay? So what you're going to do, now you have your account and you're on level 1, and hopefully maybe you started downloading the resource, and you can just start working through the levels. And if you get stuck, you can either raise your hand and ask me a question once you've kind of tried for a little bit, or you can look at this resource here. So if I got stuck on level 2, I could kind of look here and see, oh, you know what I was doing wrong? I was only moving up once, thinking it would bring me all the way to the gem. Really, I need to move up twice. So this kind of helps you if you get stuck, but can't emphasize it enough. Really want you guys to try on your own for a little bit before you use the resource too much. So go ahead, give it a try. I'm going to put everyone's hands down. Raise your hand if you get stuck, or if you're like, Miss Dupik, I have no idea what we're supposed to be doing right now. I want everybody to try to get to level 5, which is called, ooh, not really letting me see level 5. Kind of frustrating. Okay, let's see. I can get to level true names. I want you guys to try to get to true names, and then raise your hand once you've gotten to true names. All right? So send me a message if you have a question. All right, so I'm going to check out these then next, yeah. It will not let me play level 3. Yeah, go ahead, Noah. Start with level 1 and then keep working. Oh, Devin. I'm glad you're having fun. Okay, so Lauren, let's go ahead and see. Shadow Guard. And it won't let you play. Okay. Let's see here. Hey, Lauren. Well, you're muted, but okay. So what is it telling you? I cannot hear you, Lauren. I don't know if it's my computer or yours. Can someone type a message if they do hear Lauren? Noah, go to level 5 called True Names. Okay, Lauren got it. Never mind. If your connection failed, try refreshing the page. Again, try using Google Chrome. Devin, what brow? Okay, you are on Chrome. It could be your Wi-Fi connection. If you have Firefox, you can try changing browsers. Sorry, that's the best I got. Okay, yeah, go ahead and try. Okay, let's see. How many levels are we supposed to do? 7, Hannah. I want you to do up to the level called True Names, and then I just want us all to kind of check in because True Names uses variables, and I wanted to go over that as a group. Are you talking right now? No, Brendan. I am not talking right now because getting everyone's kind of working on their own. Hey, Ben and Will. Sorry you're having issues. We went ahead to sign up for Code Combat, and I put a resource on the GoToWebinar page, or on our little, it's a handout with our webinar. Oh, looks like Sam. So raise your hand once you get to the level called True Names. Looks like Sam is the only one there. You can keep going. You can keep going once you get to level 5, but put your hand up so I know that we can start talking about variables. Okay, Brendan. Sorry. You're using coordinate boots. Noah, that's awesome. You're going to be all ready to go for geometry. Yep, shortly. So those coordinate boots work on the coordinate plane. which well, you guys already learned about the coordinate plane. I don't know why I'm talking about geometry. The positive, um, with the X and the Y. So it's a good way, not just practicing programming, but math as well. All right, so I see one more hand. Take your time, absolutely, but don't forget to raise your hand when you get to the level called true names. There we go. I can see a couple more hands. Again, take your time. There is no rush here. Send me a message if you get stuck, but just do we do 5 or 7 levels? Hayes, you're going to go up to the level called true names, and then you're going to keep going, but you're going to put your hand up. And that's because I want to talk about variables as a group, but you can just keep going if you want. You don't have to sit and wait. Just put your hand up to let me know, hey, I'm ready to talk about true names whenever everyone else is ready. All right, seeing a few hands. Just going to wait on a few. I think a few people are having some connection issues, so Devin, take your time, and we'll just kind of keep it at a pace. I will say in about 10 minutes, we're going to go over what you need to bring, what you need to start looking for Wednesday. So what pieces of equipment that you'll need, what pieces of hardware. But just keep going. I hope you guys are enjoying it. Send me a message if you get stuck. Wait, what was you, Wyatt? Are you what? Do we do true names? Hannah. Yes. You do true names. You put your hand up when you're finished with it, and you keep going. How do I see the coordinates? Great question, Noah. Hold on. Okay, Wyatt, that's fine. Just keep going. Just put your hand up to say that you finished that and keep going. Noah, if you're using coordinate boots, you hover over a little brick and it'll show you the coordinate. I'm not using coordinate boots right now, so it won't show me. But if I go up here and use my better boots, It should show me. And you know what? Noah, wait, who said this? Yeah. Noah, since it's so early on, it may not be able to tell you. What you need to do probably is get your older boots out. So find your boots when you start the level, scroll down and find your kind of your cheap boots and put them on. Something's gross in Noah's boots. All right, I'm seeing a few more hands. Make sure you throw your hand up once you've finished the level True Names. Great, a lot more hands. That's awesome. Hope you guys are enjoying it. All right, Hannah says you're ready to. Okay, take a break from what you're working on real fast, and we're going to go ahead and take a look at what I wanted to show you guys. So eyes on my screen for a minute, please. So you've already started to go through some of the puzzles here, right? You had to move. Sometimes you only have a certain number of moves. So in this one, you had to go the higher route because the lower route would end up taking you longer. And you didn't want to distract the guard in level 3. So already some puzzles, but not super challenging. It's going to start to get more challenging. So we learned for True Names, we learned a new method. That's why I wanted to talk about it. And we are using the attack method, and inside the parentheses, and there are always going to be a pair of parentheses after every method, we put the name of the target that we want to attack. And again, if you forget how to use it, just hover over that item to learn more. So you hover over the words self.attack target, and it's going to give you this screen here that just reminds you how to use it. Computers understand different kinds of values, like numbers versus characters, in different ways. And so when you put these names in there, what you're really putting in there is called a string. It's kind of like how programming languages understand words, quote unquote, as opposed to a number. And a string is denoted by those quotation marks. All right, so what we're going to do right now, thank you guys for your attention. And you guys can keep working on Code Combat after this, but I want to go over what you're going to need for Wednesday, just because we're getting close to the end of class here. So this is the quick start guide for your Raspberry Pi, and I can send the link out for chat. I just did that. And it just explains what you need. You'll need an SD card for Wednesday. Now, of course, we gave you one of those, so you already should have the SD card. You're going to need display cables for your monitor. Now, any HDMI or DVI monitor or any TV will work. Now, with this, let's take a look here. HDMI, that's the new kind of connections, like with newer monitors or newer TVs. There is an old kind as well, which I don't even know if we have a picture of, that looks kind of like a yellow line. The easiest thing to do if you have an older monitor that you want to connect to your Raspberry Pi is to get something that looks like this. It's called an HDMI to DVI lead. So this piece here would connect into your monitor. It has a bunch of different pins. And this piece here would connect into your Raspberry Pi. Okay. So again, that information is here. You're going to need a keyboard and mouse that connect via USB, not via Bluetooth. And you're going to need that power supply cable. And it's just like one that you would use maybe with like a cell phone. And it's a micro USB. And you can actually use something really similar to what you use to charge a cell phone in order to power it. What's important to know here is that you cannot use a laptop as your monitor. You can use an HDMI or DVI monitor or a TV, but you cannot use a laptop. Okay, so it would be something separate from a computer. If your computer is all one piece, like a Mac computer, those are all one piece. You know, you can pick it up and you're picking up the whole thing. You don't pick up the monitor separately from picking up the computer. You can't use it something like that. Let me show you. So this kind of monitor here, where it's separate from the computer, you can use this monitor. But if you have a computer that's kind of all together, where you don't have a separate tower, then you cannot use that. Okay? Questions on what you're going to need for Wednesday? My sword can cleave. Oh, yes, no, you have a powerful sword. The SD card, yes, came with your pies. So I sent out this quick guide, so you have access to that. And on Wednesday, either me or Miss Saunders will help you kind of with this. All right. We will help you. Let me rephrase that. We will help you start up your Raspberry Pi, but you do need these things. You do need the monitor and the connections and you do need the keyboard and mouse. So, all right, keep going on your code combat. I'll be here if you have any questions for the next few minutes. You'll be doing Minecraft on Wednesday. Okay, Lauren. Does the level look like... where's my level? Here it is. Is it called the Raised Sword? I've unmuted you, but I think I was having trouble hearing you before. So maybe we can just keep typing. Remember, you have to skip this one. Favorable odds you have to skip. But if we look at, we can take a look at the Raised Sword. Taking off all my equipment here. All right. Oh, the Haunted Kith Maze. Oops. That one's tough. Let's go back. Let's see. They've added some levels. Okay, Haunted Kith Maze. Okay, so for this one, what you're doing is you're going to put a sequence of commands that you want repeated as a part of a loop. Okay, so I'm going to pause this here, bring it back to the beginning. So it should start with this loop section here, I believe. Okay, what you're going to do is you need to find the pattern. So if you just go straight, you're going to run into that wall, right? So I zoomed out here to see the whole maze. What you want to do is go to the right twice, go up twice, and then again, go to the right twice and up twice. And lastly, go to the right twice and up twice. Okay, so you want to, in your loop, kind of go find the pattern that you're going to use and just try it out. Let's say I accidentally just put move up once and then I hit run and I watch it. So I move to the right, move to the right, move up. And I try to move to the right twice and move up, but I get stuck because I can't move to the right. So then all I have to do is hit pause and retry it. Okay, you got it. We should make a clan. That would be fun. You guys can go ahead and make a clan. All right. It is 6. It's 7 for you all. I need to run. I hope you guys are enjoying this. Continue using the guide. And I think it would be a great idea if on Wednesday, if I'm back with you or if Miss Saunders is back with you, you guys make it clear. All right. Have a wonderful evening, and either I or Miss Saunders will see you on Wednesday.